When was the last time a simple hello to a complete stranger completely changed your day? Or maybe even ended in a marriage proposal?
Oh, that is quite the hook.
Right. Well, welcome to Everyday English Flow. Daily English practice, natural speaking, and effortless listening flow.
It is so good to be here with you today.
Uh,
I'm really thrilled to dive into this one.
Same here, because today we have a really exciting mission. We're going to explore how to master the art of talking to strangers.
Yeah, which is terrifying for a lot of people.
Exactly. But we're looking at how to turn those everyday, random encounters into this massive worldwide web of meaningful connections. And if you're learning English, especially if you're aiming for that advanced, highly fluent C1 level, you already know that speaking naturally with people you don't know is, well, it's the ultimate test.
It absolutely is.
Because it's one thing to read a textbook, but it's another to navigate human psychology in real time. So this deep dive is designed to significantly enhance your speaking and listening skills by breaking down the actual mechanics of human connection.
I love that.
Oh, and for everyone listening, make sure you stick around because there will be a very special bonus language tip at the very end of our conversation today.
Yes, you definitely want to stay for that. And before we jump in, let's look at the numbers. Today, we are going to cover exactly 7 crucial points to master conversation.
7 points. Got it.
Right. And we are drawing these insights directly from top communication experts.
Okay, let's unpack how and other experts actually do this, because I think the absolute hardest part of any interaction is the initiation, right? Just getting
Yeah.
that very first syllable out of your mouth to someone you don't know.
Oh, yeah. It's terrifying for most people. But the core belief among communication experts is that the first word acts as a crucial gateway. It's what they call opening the first word floodgates.
I love that visual, opening the floodgates. For those listening who might be building their vocabulary, it's such an evocative phrase. It brings to mind this massive dam holding back a river.
Exactly. When you open the floodgates, you suddenly release a barrier, which allows a massive flow of something.
Right.
So imagine a company that has been ignoring its staff for years. If they suddenly hold a town hall meeting and ask for honest feedback, it opens the floodgates, and thousands of employees rush to share their pent-up opinions.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And in a social setting, the tension between two strangers is like that physical barrier. The moment you force out that initial hi or hello, the dam breaks. The tension dissolves, the barrier's gone, and the rest of the conversation can just flow naturally.
Okay, I hear the logic, but I actually have to push back here for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Haven't we all been taught since we were toddlers absolutely not to talk to strangers? I mean, we've had stranger danger drilled into our heads since preschool.
Yeah, that's true.
It just feels completely counterintuitive, almost unsafe even, to just walk up to someone and initiate contact.
That is a very fair point. And it's true that we are socially conditioned to just, keep our heads down and mind our own business.
Exactly.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the trajectory of your own life. Every single person you love right now, your best friend, your favorite colleague, your partner, was at one point a complete stranger to you.
Oh, wow. I never really thought about it like that.
Right. The experts believe that every single stranger you pass by brings a hidden opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn a completely new perspective, to have an experience you've never had, or hear a story you've never heard before. By letting that fear of stranger danger rule your adult life, you're slamming the door on an unbelievable amount of potential.
That is a really profound way to look at it. We're basically walking past unopened gifts all day. But, okay, let's say I do it. I take the leap, I break the tension, and I open the floodgates. The immediate trap I fall into, and I think everyone does this, is reverting to the safest possible script. Like, how are you? And they say, I'm fine, nice weather.
Yes, and that is the absolute danger zone. The experts are adamant about this point number 2. You must skip the small talk.
Skip it completely.
Completely. Time is precious, and human attention spans are shorter than ever. If you spend your time exchanging generic pleasantries, you waste the golden window of interaction. You immediately get stuck in a rut.
Stuck in a rut. That's such a perfect idiom for this.
It really is.
Like when a wagon wheel goes over the same muddy path over and over, it creates a deep groove, a rut, and the wheel just gets trapped in it.
Precisely. To be stuck in a rut means being trapped in a boring, repetitive routine that is incredibly hard to escape. For example, if someone works the exact same unfulfilling job for 10 years without a promotion, they might say, I feel completely stuck in a rut. Socially, when you rely on standard, boring small talk, Your conversations are instantly stuck in a rut. You're just reading a script.
Yeah, there's no biological spark, no dopamine release, no discovery.
Exactly.
Actually, I have a story that perfectly illustrates why skipping that rut is so
Well,
powerful.
let's hear it.
So, a few months ago, I got into a taxi late at night. The easy, scripted thing to say would have been, busy night. But I decided to bypass the small talk entirely. Instead, I just looked at the driver and asked, "Where do you come from? Where does your family live right now?"
Wow. See, that could easily feel invasive if not done right.
Yeah.
How did you bypass the small talk without crossing a boundary?
It was all in the tone. I just asked it with genuine, warm curiosity. And the result was amazing. He was a 60-year-old Pakistani man from Peshawar. And because I bypassed the autopilot script, his brain actually engaged. He completely opened up. Over the next 20 minutes, we talked about his favorite traditional music, his family dynamics, his farm back home.
That's beautiful.
We even got into politics.
Hmm.
And not arguing or taking sides, just a completely neutral, impartial exchange of perspectives, genuinely listening to how two people from totally different parts of the world view the news.
Which is incredibly rare these days.
Exactly. And here is the punchline.
Oh, there's more.
Yes. Because we had such a human-to-human connection, by the time the cab ride was over, he was absolutely convinced that I was the perfect bride for his 26-year-old college-educated son.
That is incredible. A simple hello and a bypassed rut ends in a marriage proposal.
Oh, I know, right?
But if we look at the mechanics of why that worked, it's fascinating. You asked a question that required a unique, personal response. You disrupted his default brain network.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You showed immediate interest in his humanity rather than just treating him as a function, just, a guy driving a car.
Right. It felt like we were instantly on the same wavelength. Which actually brings up an interesting question. If you're throwing out these unscripted, personal questions, how do you make sure the other person feels safe answering them?
This is where we get to point number 3, the concept of finding the Me Too's. When you skip small talk, you never, ever want to start a conversation like it's a debate.
What do you mean?
Well, if someone tells you, "I'm from Delhi," and your immediate response is, "Oh, I hate Delhi, the traffic is awful," you have instantly killed the psychological safety of the interaction.
Oh, absolutely.
You've introduced a threat. Instead, you need to actively look for common ground. Find something, the crazy weather, the fact that you're both waiting in a ridiculously long line, maybe a shared desire for a good cup of coffee,
Oh,
so that both people feel they're on the same side.
I love this concept. To me, finding a me too is exactly like being at a massive sports match.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Yeah, like you're surrounded by strangers, but you suddenly realize the person next to you is wearing the exact same team's jersey as you. Instantly, all your social defenses drop. You don't know their profession, their background, anything else about them, but in that moment, you are allies. You're in the trenches together.
That sports jersey is the perfect visual for what psychologists call in-group favoritism. Our brains are biologically hardwired to scan the environment for threats.
Right.
So when you establish a me too, the other person's brain categorizes you as part of their tribe. You get automatic subconscious buy-in. The conversation becomes incredibly easy from that point forward because the social friction is completely gone.
Speaking of making things easy and friction-free, if you are enjoying this everyday English flow and finding value in these insights, please take a second right now to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us keep bringing you these deep dives.
Absolutely, please do. So once you've established that you are on the same team, how do you elevate the connection?
Right. How do you leave a lasting impression?
It's point 4, which involves mastering how you make people feel, specifically by paying a unique compliment.
But complimenting strangers can feel so cheap sometimes, like nice shirt, cool shoes, it just bounces right off them.
And there's a scientific reason for that.
Mm.
It's what communication experts call the compliment immunity meter.
Immunity meter. Okay, let's break down how that applies psychologically, because usually when we talk about immunity, we're talking about medicine.
Right. Immunity refers to a state of being completely unaffected by or protected from something, like having immunity to a specific virus.
Yeah.
But psychologically, it happens through habituation. Think about someone who grew up in a massive, loud city. Over time, they build up an absolute immunity to traffic noise. They literally don't hear the sirens anymore. In conversations, people build up an immunity to generic praise.
Oh, this reminds me of the classic story of the famous supermodel.
Yeah.
If you walk up to a globally recognized supermodel and say, "Wow, you are so beautiful," you are going to get absolutely zero emotional reaction from her. Her compliment immunity meter is completely maxed out. She's immune to words like beautiful, nice, awesome, or gorgeous because she hears them 1,000 times a day.
Exactly. Her brain doesn't even register them as meaningful data anymore. Those generic words hold no dopamine value for her. So the strategy is to construct a compliment that is highly specific, highly observant, and deeply genuine.
The example from our source material is so poetic. Instead of telling someone they look nice, you say, I love how when you smile, it's like your nose smiles, and then your eyes smile, and your ears smile, and even your forehead smiles.
Mhm.
You tell them that their entire being lights up.
Now, that absolutely bypasses the immunity meter.
It really does.
Why? Because it requires you to have actually observed them. It's not a copy-paste compliment. It proves you are paying active attention to their unique physical expressions. It makes them feel truly seen.
So, if generic compliments bounce off this immunity meter, how else do we make someone feel deeply valued without sounding fake? It seems like the easiest shortcut is just asking them what they think.
Yes, which brings us to point 5. Asking for an opinion is one of the most powerful tools in communication, and it all boils down to a fundamental human need: validation.
Oh, that's a good word.
It is. For our listeners mastering advanced English, validation is a fantastic concept to understand. It's the recognition or affirmation that a person's feelings, thoughts, or opinions are valid and worthwhile.
Right?
For instance, you might say, after months of hard work on the project, the CEO's praise gave the team the validation they desperately needed. We all want our voices to be heard. When you ask a stranger for their opinion, you are validating their intellect. You are effectively telling them, your perspective matters to me.
But there's a massive trap here.
Definitely.
You can't just ask them anything. If you ask something too heavy, it backfires completely. It becomes intimidating.
Right. And intimidating is the exact opposite of what we want. Intimidating means making someone feel frightened, nervous, or intellectually inadequate. Like walking into a final exam that covers 3 years of complex material. That is highly intimidating.
So imagine walking up to a stranger at a casual coffee shop and asking, so what are your thoughts on how fluctuating global oil prices have impacted the commercial real estate market in Dubai?
Oh, no.
That is terrifying. It feels like a university oral examination. I would just want to run out the door. You have to keep the stakes low, ask things like, how do you like your coffee? Or what did you think of the pacing in that new movie?
You want to invite them to speak, not test their knowledge. But here's the core mechanism that makes asking for an opinion actually work. When they begin to answer you, you have to fundamentally understand the difference between listening to reply and listening to listen.
Listening to reply versus listening to listen. That is a massive distinction.
It is everything. Most people, when they ask a question, are just waiting for their turn to speak again. The cognitive load of their brain is entirely focused on formatting their next clever sentence while the other person's mouth is moving.
Guilty.
We all do it. But if you want to actually connect, you have to shut down that internal monologue. You have to truly absorb what they are saying without an agenda.
Which is so rare, and it leads directly into point 6, being present, because honestly, there is nothing more frustrating than trying to connect with someone who is visibly distracted.
Let's look at 2 fantastic phrasal verbs that capture this perfectly. Pour your heart out and tune out.
Oh, these are great for everyday natural speaking.
They really are. To pour your heart out means to express your deepest feelings freely, openly, and vulnerably. Imagine saying she finally poured her heart out to her brother about the stress she was under. It takes immense effort.
Yeah, it does.
Conversely, to tune out means to mentally detach from your surroundings and stop paying attention. It's like turning the dial on a radio until the signal is just static. For example, the presentation was so filled with jargon that the audience completely tuned out after 5 minutes.
We have all been on the receiving end of that. You are pouring your heart out to someone, taking an emotional risk, and they're just staring at their phone, tuning you out. They give you the classic dismissive, yeah, keep talking. What's with the Wi-Fi in here?
Ugh, the worst.
It's a terrible, isolating feeling.
It completely shatters trust. The antidote to this, the absolute cure, is the magic of eye contact. When someone is communicating with you, you must be wholeheartedly present. Look them directly in the eye. What the communication experts note is that when you purposefully hold someone's gaze, 9 out of 10 times they will not dare look away.
Really? Why is that? Why is eye contact so commanding?
Because you're triggering a biological response. Eye contact forces the brain to process the other person as an immediate present entity. It releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. It physically and chemically anchors both of you in the reality of the conversation. You can't easily multitask when someone is looking into your soul.
It makes the moment incredibly real. Wow. Okay, we have arrived at the seventh and final piece of the puzzle, and this one has a fun, nostalgic title. It's called Name, Place, Animal, Thing, just like the classic childhood game.
Yes, this concept is all about the power of retaining data, remembering the details.
Because the specifics matter so much. If you meet someone at a conference for the third time and say, hey, great to see you again, you must be Paul. Wait, no, Peter, something with a P. It is absolutely disastrous. You've instantly communicated that they are not important enough to take up space in your memory. You have to remember their name and use it.
But it goes far beyond just the name. It's the places they mention they like to travel, their pets' names, or how their dog has been recovering from an illness. Remember their kids' names? That is always a massive winner because people love when you care about their children.
Oh, and definitely remember their wife's name or their girlfriend's name. Just a quick public service warning for everyone listening. Do not mix those last two up. That is a recipe for absolute disaster.
Yes, avoid that at all costs. But on a serious psychological level, when you remember these small details and repeat them back in future conversations, you become an investor in their well-being. It's a form of reciprocal altruism. By showing that you expend the cognitive effort to retain information about their life, they feel a deep sense of loyalty and responsibility to you. The connection is solidified because you've proven, with evidence, that they matter.
That is so powerful. You know, looking back at these 7 points, from opening the floodgates to becoming an investor in their details, it really makes you reevaluate how you interact with the world around you. I want to leave our listeners with this final analogy. Think of human lives as entire, rich, complex books. It is incredibly saddening that in today's digital world, these complex human lives are constantly being reduced to 140-character tweets or catchy, sensationalized headlines.
And this brings us to a fantastic C1 vocabulary word to describe that reduction: abridged.
Good word.
Abridged means shortened or condensed, usually referring to a piece of writing where the core essence is kept, but the rich details are cut out. For example, you might say, because I only had 2 days before the book club meeting, I bought the abridged version of the massive novel.
Exactly. But human beings are not abridged versions. We are not just quick passing summaries. Every single stranger you pass on the street is an entire human story with chapters of joy, tragedy, and insight. So I will leave you with this provocative thought. Tomorrow, when you walk into the massive chaotic library of the world, are you just going to wander around, look at the hardbound copies, and merely read the titles? Or are you actually going to reach for a book, open a page, and start reading the story? The choice is entirely yours.
What a beautiful, challenging way to frame it. I love that.
Yeah, now, as promised, here's your bonus at the end.
Yes, for your C1 language tip today, let's look at the phrasal verb boil down to. When we were talking about complex human lives being reduced to 140 characters, a native speaker might say it's sad when human lives are boiled down to a tweet. To boil down to means to reduce a complex situation to its most basic, essential element, like boiling a soup until only the thick base is left. You can use this in your next advanced English conversation to sound highly fluent and analytical. For example, if you're discussing a highly complex business failure with many moving parts, you could summarize it by saying, we've talked about supply chains and marketing, but honestly, it all boils down to a lack of budget. It is a fantastic, natural phrase for summarizing complex ideas.
That is such an incredibly useful tip for the workplace. And to keep pushing your skills, we have one more interactive challenge for you today.
Yes. Before we go, here is an idiom challenge for you. Break the ice. We want you to write your answers in the comment section explaining exactly what this means. How does breaking the ice relate to everything we discussed today about talking to strangers?
I cannot wait to read how you guys explain that in the comments.
Also, to prove that you've finished this intensive English practice session and to hold yourself accountable to your learning journey, I want you to write the exact phrase, "I stay committed," in the comment box. Let us know you made it to the very end of the deep dive.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us for this Everyday English Flow. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can keep making these for you. Until next time, keep practicing, keep finding those Me Too's, and don't be afraid to open a new book today.